What would you do if you woke up before dawn and were told that your moment, the one that history would remember forever, had arrived? Would you be ready? On April 19th, 1775, a group of ordinary farmers and tradesmen answered that question. And the world has never been the same. It is the spring of 1775. Tension between Britain and its 13 American colonies has been building for years, over taxes, over rights, over the simple question of whether ordinary people get to have a say in how they are governed. In Boston, British General Thomas Gage has a plan. He will send 700 of his best soldiers, the most powerful military force in the world, marching quietly through the night to the town of Concord, 20 miles away. Their mission: seize the colonists' weapons and gunpowder before anyone can stop them. What Gage does not know is that the colonists have spies everywhere. And on the night of April 18th, a silversmith named Paul Revere mounts his horse and rides. It is a myth that Revere shouted, "The British are coming." Most colonists still thought of themselves as British. What he warned was that the regulars were on the march. But the message was unmistakable. Get up. Get your musket. The moment is here. At dawn on April 19th, the Redcoats march into the village of Lexington and find something they did not expect. About 80 Lexington militiamen had emerged from Buckman Tavern and stood in ranks on Lexington Common, watching them. Their captain was a man named John Parker, a veteran of the French and Indian War, a farmer, and a man dying of tuberculosis, whose raspy voice was sometimes hard to hear. He reportedly told his men, "Stand your ground, don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here." Nobody knows who fired first. Historians have debated it for 250 years. Both sides gave sworn testimony, and the biases of both make conclusions difficult to this day. But a shot rang out, sharp and irreversible, across that quiet green. And with that one sound, that single anonymous crack of gunpowder, the world changed. The British pushed on to Concord. But something remarkable happens there. Something the generals in London never imagined possible. The colonists fight back. The results of the battles at Lexington and Concord gave a significant boost to Patriot morale, instilling in the colonists the belief they could take on the British Army, and leading to an increase in the number of men willing to fight for the Patriot cause. By the time it was over, 73 British soldiers had been killed and 174 wounded. American losses were 50 killed and 39 wounded. But the numbers almost don't matter. What matters is what Lord Percy, the British commander, wrote back to London that night in stunned disbelief. Whoever looks upon them as an irregular mob will be much mistaken. Here is the part of the story that moves me most. Behind every man on that village green that morning was a woman who watched him walk out the door. Hannah Davis of Acton remembered her husband, Isaac, leaving home that morning, pausing as if he had something to say, and saying only, "Take good care of the children," before he was out of sight. In the afternoon, he was brought home a corpse, one of the first men to fall at Concord's North Bridge. Hannah was a widow with 4 children. And yet, even as the men marched, the women did not simply wait. Some slyly misled British soldiers as to the whereabouts of hidden weapons. Others stood in doorways and refused to let soldiers enter. Rebecca Barrett, whose farm hid militia weapons, was demanded food by British soldiers who offered to pay and refused their money, saying only, "We are commanded to feed our enemies." Every single person on that day, named or nameless, was someone's family, someone's story. 250 years later, you and I are living in the nation those farmers built. A nation born not in the halls of power, but on a foggy village green, by people who had no armies, no guarantees, and no certainty that they would win. They were just people, like you, like me, who decided that the moment had come and they were not going to let it pass without standing up. And that makes me think about the stories in your own family, the moments when someone in your life stood their ground, said no when it would have been easier to say nothing. walked out a door knowing it might be the hardest thing they ever did, those stories are your family's Lexington Green. And if you don't write them down, they will be lost, just as surely as if that shot on April 19th had never been recorded at all. Have you ever thought about gathering those moments, the stories that only you carry, the ones that explain where your family's courage comes from, and who they were when it mattered most? Those stories belong to your children and grandchildren, and I want to help you capture them before they are gone. I am building a free guide just for History Sparks subscribers that will walk you through how to write your own family's story. Simple, personal, yours forever. If that speaks to you, drop the word freedom in the comments below. If enough of you reach out, the guide is yours, completely free. If today's story stirred something in you, if it reminded you that ordinary people really do change the world, hit that like button right now and share it with someone who loves American history. And if the History Sparks family isn't part of your day yet, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Every single day, we bring you a moment from the past that reminds you just how extraordinary the human story really is. We will see you right back here tomorrow, because history never stops sparking.